In my opinion, there's two broken items in Dota right now. And yes, I guess the speed standard of broken, which isn't actually that broken. But no, really, there are two very strong items in Dota right now. And those two items are Pipe of Insight and Gloves of Haste. The reason is because Pipe is very cheap and has some of the best build-up in Dota, and Gloves of Haste simply is cheap and very effective. It's 400 gold for 20 attack speed, which is extremely efficient with any sort of hero that has good damage. And that's why in today's video, I'm going to be talking about a hero that buys both. I mean, I guess you could argue that he typically buys treads, which doesn't really mean it's some sort of a Gloves of Haste rush, but I would argue you could buy treads and another Gloves of Haste and it's still good. Getting on with the point though, we're going to be following Micke in his Bristleback journey to defeat evil geniuses and make Arteezy, as always, look like a bot. I'm kidding. Yeah, no, in all seriousness, if you want to learn Bristleback or kind of just see what's the meta, this is going to be the video for you. So yeah, like and subscribe to help our channel grow and to make sure that the video does well to help out your boy Speed in his content creation journey. And yeah, let's get into it. Something I've recently been doing has been experimenting with random heroes in the mid lane. I've played Beastmaster mid, Axe mid, Riki mid, Sven mid, and recently, going back to the point of the Sven, I just played Sven mid lane and did a VOD analysis for the main gameleap website. It was a really cool game because I managed to win my lane by applying core fundamentals I learned from other heroes onto Sven in the mid lane. In fact, I thought we were going to lose that game. We were 10k behind at some point, but because of good item timings and decision making, I was able to win it. So please click the link down below so you can check out that video. I put a lot of effort into it. It was a ton of fun to record and also to play. So yeah, click the link down below and I hope I see you guys there. Alright, so getting right into the laning stage for Bristleback, there's a couple things you need to note that people usually do wrong. Number one, I generally recommend you pick it with some sort of mana sustain hero, such as CM or Coddle. Coddle is easily the best combo with Bristleback though in Dota. Reason being is his Chakra Magic, which basically you should always take if he's leaning with the Bristleback, allows Bristleback not to only have mana for his spells, but also to spam Quill Spray as it resets the cooldown. On top of that, I'd like to mention that in this lane he leads with a stick. I would say only do this if you are guaranteed to have a lane where they're going to spam a lot of spells, otherwise this is a complete waste of gold, and your money should go towards more mangoes. You basically have to spam mangoes if you pick this hero and you don't have like mana-based supports. Within the laning stage, there's a very important tactic that Micke uses to actually get a lot of harass and CS at the same exact time. So right off the bat, he actually leads with the Quill. You should have seen that, right? He leads with the Quill. Moving on, he goes for another Quill. And you might be like, well, Speed, this is only because he has a Coddle. And yet, I would agree to some extent, a lot of it actually has to do with the fact that not only does he want to push the lane, but you also want to push the enemy offlaner out of the lane. Now, I want you to look at Ramsey's positioning. He's very far back, yes? Well, low MR players won't react properly. They won't. They'll completely ignore it to some extent. They'll just tank 3 quills right off the bat, going for last hits. Especially something like this range creep, correct? And as a result, I won't say you'll get first blood, but you'll definitely get a significant amount of damage that will allow you to punish them hard on the laning stage. I mean, you could see it there, right? Ramses went for the range creep. Micke realizes this, he's like, okay, I already have a ton of quills built up, and therefore I can go for a little bit of a punish. On top of that, Bristleback's damage isn't great, so obviously being able to use the quills for last hitting, or like at least preventing them from dying you, is quite a big deal. The second thing I want to say about Bristle that, oh my god, I swear, dude, why do you guys do this still? I'm serious. I've watched quite a few low MR Bristlebacks within the last few months, and I've literally never seen one take Goo at level 2. Guys, do you understand Goo is one of the best level 1 abilities in Dota? I'm serious about that. It is one of the best level 1 abilities in Dota. It's flat 2 armor reduction with just 1 stat, flat 20% movement speed reduction, just that's all you need to know. And it's 12 mana, 20%, guys, with 2 less armor reduction, which makes your quills do a significantly larger amount of damage. It is literally a broken level 1 spell. I'm serious, it's really what makes Bristleback a dominant laner. Now he's laning against the Necrophos, which is frankly, if there's any hero that can deal with Bristle, it's Necro, because he buys a stick, he has a ton of sustain, literally all 3 of his abilities allow him to sustain in some sort or the other. So it makes this seem slightly underwhelming, but as you can see, he's zoning a Necro out of lane. He's crushing a Necro. I mean, think about it. If he can crush a Necro, you can basically crush any hero in lane, and that's why I think Bristleback is a generally strong laner, even against a hero like Razor, which I know people are going to hear that and be like, Speed, you're so dumb, this is why you never went pro. I mean, maybe you're slightly right, that's kind of hurtful though. But in all seriousness, you can really kite people harder than you would think with just 1 point in goo, and it's why I recommend you taking it. Also, turning around that much in the early laning stage isn't even that effective. It's also only 16%, which is, you know, it's good, but it's not that good. Moving on, let's look at the first blood of the lane. So he was sort of getting gone on here, getting pressured a little bit, and whenever you're getting pressured as Bristleback, it's very important that you spam your quills, right? If you're getting run at, you should be spamming goo and spamming quills to get people off of you, especially the quills because they obviously don't make you turn around, so it's a major advantage. Then at max range of the quill, he's poking the Necrophos, right? Doesn't want to take too much damage, as the Necro is going to full heal from his Ghost Shroud plus stick. But because he's built up so many stacks and so many goos, the Necrophos has almost no armor, as I'm going to show you here, and they pick up the first blood. Like, legitimately look at Necro's armor. He has negative armor right now. Right? That's pretty insane. You see how much damage he's taking? It's amplified even. Every single right click from everyone is amplified, which is a big deal, right? And yeah, that's why the Quill did like 150 damage there and was able to secure first blood. In terms of the early game, I want to point out what Liquid actually does to enable the Bristleback, so this is something you can do with your friends, and you should keep it in mind. First off, Coddle is not only really great with Bristleback in the laning stage because of the mana, but he also makes a lot of stacks, which is Bristleback's best friend. You love stacks. Not only do you like normal stacks, but you also like ancient stacks, so keep that in mind, guys. If you're playing Bristle, even if it's in solo queue, yes, it works if you actually communicate respectfully and play generally well. You can get your supports to stack ancients, and you should ask them to do so. Now in this game, it's actually really good for him also, or in Dota right now, it's good for him to also take stacks like this, because you're going to get neutral items, which is quite optimal. So as you're going to see, he has a clarity going. Unfortunately, he's playing against professional players, so they yoink all of his gold and prevent them from getting jungle items, as that's how that works. And so yeah, he gets griefed a little bit, but in your typical pub, you'll get extremely farmed from doing that. And you should look at Bristleback as a flash farmer for the first 10 to 12 minutes. I see people get this backwards. They're like, oh my god, I'm Bristleback. They start chasing people down for like 12 minutes, and they have no items. You have to get ahead. This hero is particularly strong because he farms unbelievably fast in the early game, which I don't think people realize, and it's why I want to make a video on this hero. But yeah, as you can see, he's taking ancients at level 6, and I recommend you do this. You don't even have to, right? You do not have to at all have high levels or a stack to take the ancients. You can just straight up take them, even with just one clarity going. Moving on from there, what you should consider is once you hit like level 7 and you have your Hood of Defiance, plus your Gloves of Haste and a Wand, which is basically the items you're going to buy every single game. I guess you could argue some matches you might want a Bassi, or you even might want a Soul Ring, assuming you don't have a Coddle, or something like the legs of a CM, so you should keep this in mind. But basically when you hit these timings, you're going to be very powerful, and you can start looking to make rotations. Now, EG obviously picked the Necrophos to counter out the Bristleback. You know, most heroes Bristle can sort of just run down, Necrophos not really. So as you're going to see, Micke is avoiding him, but you really do want to look for engagements in the early game, and that's why I want you guys to keep in mind. If you're looking for a hero that farms really fast for the first 12 minutes, but then, or even less, 10 minutes, but then is looking for fights, this is a great option for you. So next up, I want to give a very important team fighting tip for Bristleback that you guys should always keep in mind. In fact, it applies to a lot of heroes, but definitely very much so towards Bristleback. One of the best places for you in Dota to fight as a hero like Bristleback is under towers. The reason is you're gonna have full vision of the enemy team, and this is, you know, just a concept that applies to Dota. However, when you're playing Bristleback, it basically means that you can choose your targets, and in this case, he, right, sees the Necrophos. Okay, he's gonna go on him. As we can see, they know the Morphling is in here, Chen is in here as well, so he's gonna go on the first person that he sees. This is typical Bristleback fashion. You just run at the first person you see. You buy tank items and you create chaos. That's very normal. On top of that, he's finally gotten to his Solar Crest timing, and he's able to, you know, create a situation where the Necrophos has -5 armor. Guys, I'm trying to stress this. Minus armor is key here. They will also later on be buying Desolator on the Mars to stack this up. Minus armor is your best friend as Bristleback, and you should keep that in mind, as well as the fact that this is just an overall amazing item for Bristleback, right? It gives you movement speed, all stats, armor, mana regen, and then obviously the ability to man up on certain agi carries, because it gives you the ability to give them -80 attack speed. But yeah, getting back into the fight, I actually want you to see the amount of damage he's hitting for. As long as you're spamming your spells, which is amping up your Warpath stacks, which is how this ability works, the more spells you cast, the more movement speed and damage you get. It's actually a ton, right? Just at level 6, if you cast 2 spells, you get plus 44 damage, which is really good. But yeah, just look at the overall damage he's going to deal here. By casting his W and the Solar Crest, they're able to pick up a pretty easy kill, and then once again, then on to crit, the next assassin, he's going to be able to deal like 100 damage with the quills, almost 300 to this Chen with pure rank clicks, and yeah, it's just kind of insane for the early game. It's really hard to deal with considering the goo also hardcore kites people, and then even this Morphling, I mean, he probably didn't even see the damage from the Bristleback coming out here, and yeah, he gets absolutely chunked. Of course, the Pango is going to be no exception as well to the wrath of the Bristleback, and then a basically 5-2 wipe for Liquid coming out there. Just that's why Bristleback is so good. You create chaos under your own towers, and it's super hard for the enemy team to deal with it. Alright, I want to move forward onto the late game here, not because I think the mid game isn't important. I just want to say that for the mid game, you're going to continue to basically do what you were doing in the early game. You're going to look to make smoke plays with your team, because you're generally team oriented as a hero, and continue to farm. Please guys, do not dismiss Bristleback as the fighting hero. I see this as a major issue within low MR players that they don't listen to me on. Guys, you can't just say, oh, I'm playing Slark and my hero needs permanent agility, I guess I'll keep fighting. No, you're gonna fall off and you're gonna lose. And then you know what you're gonna blame? Your Huskar. For no reason at all. So please, continue to hit the creeps. I'm very serious about this. And you're gonna see that's what he's doing here. 338 last hits in 40 minutes, which is very respectable. And most of that was just pushing out lanes, obviously taking a bit of stacks, but for the most part, you're gonna notice if you play this hero, you farm much faster than you could ever think. One thing I would also like to mention before we get into this next upcoming team fight is that you generally want to have other damage dealers when you're playing this hero, only because your damage, it does fall off into the late game. I'm gonna be real, you generally want to be buying these tank items so you can just create more chaos than actual burst damage, right? That's how you need to look at your hero in team fights. I'm trying to bait out spells. You're literally trying to soak damage so that your teammates can deal more damage. That's sort of how you deal damage, if that makes any sense at all. If it doesn't, I don't know, I guess DM me on Discord and ask what I was trying to say there, but hopefully it makes sense. Yeah, getting into this team fight here though, you're gonna notice, look where he's positioning himself. He's literally separating this Necrophos and the Chen from the Nyx Assassin, who Liquid is able to catch out in a second. Yeah, so he's continuing to siege your tower, they catch out the Nyx Assassin because of it, and yeah, now he shifts over, right? So he makes an isolation play, then shifts over, and with the help of the Solar Crest, oh my, you guys see that damage? It's crazy. That's crazy. Also, he has an Aghanim's Blessing from Roshan, which gives him AoE goo. Very, very cool. By the way, I almost forgot to mention this as I'm going to pause. Couple things. We're going to go over talents right now. And also what I want to say is that Roshan, you got a Roche. You really want to take Roche because you're buying a Solar Crest and goo works on Roche as well as your quills. So please, take Roshan. Having 2 lives as Bristle is a big deal. It lets you siege towers and dive that much further. But getting into talents, we have 3 mana regen, 250 health, 25 health regen, and then 30 warpath damage per stack. I like this build a lot more than like the Octarine Radiance nonsense that doesn't even make you that tanky until you hit your talents. It's very unreliable in my opinion, it has bad buildup, so I highly prefer this build. But yeah, going back to the fight now, we're gonna see that the Pango gets gone on once again. So his roll kind of ends, and then yeah, he's just gonna get chunked. It's 400 right click damage per attack, and what I really like here is just the fact that he can sort of create this shield for the Zeus. Now, this is what I recommend you guys do not do. So I see a lot of you doing what Micke is about to do in your pubs here. You see how he's under the tier 4 towers? I highly recommend you don't do this. The reason being is you're way too deep, and your team can't help you. Because you're a Bristleback, and sure, you have 4,500 HP and like a gajillion resistance, but you can eventually die, especially if they have a Necrophos to counterpick you. So stop diving just because you're tanky. And now we're gonna see the game-ending fight here coming out from Micke. And once again, pretty simple execution. You cast your Solar Crest, you goo them up, use the quills. You wanna be spamming your spells off cooldown, especially your W. Make sure you have your damage going. In fact, if you watch his treads usage in this game, outside of team fights, he's constantly switching to end treads. It's very impressive. But yeah, getting back into this fight, once again, you're hitting the first person you see because that prevents you from getting kited. A lot of heroes, they don't necessarily want to do this, but they have better mobility, right? A Slark or a PA might jump the backline. Bit harder for Bristle to do that because he's not nearly as mobile in the late game. You can do that in the early game because people don't have mobility items, but yeah, there's going to be forced to have Scepters, Glimmers, etc. So you're better off just trying to force things by going on the frontline hero, as you're going to continue to see him do here. It's also going to prevent you from overextending, which is a big deal, as he chunks the Zeus for 500 damage per right click. If you look at his damage right now, he has 700 damage. That is crazy. Crazy. And yeah, you're kind of just like this frontline tank that does damage that people don't expect. I personally feel like Bristle could be a lot better than people are giving him credit for, because this hero can be played as a safe laner, mid laner, or off laner. I'm very sure of that, so I feel like this hero is going to become more and more popular. That's a hot take. I don't know what you guys think. Let me know what you think, I guess, and now that I'm saying it, in the comment section down below. Let me know what you think. I want to know what you think about bristles. Am I overrating this hero like I do for every hero in Dota? Kidding, I generally do try to pay attention to trends and see what actually is working, and I saw this match, and I had played Bristleback fairly recently as well, and I'm like, it just looks good. It looks good. And I really like the way Liquid plays and drafts around it as well, right? They have the backline damage dealers, the Coddle, the Zeus, they have the Mars to provide the control, and the Earthshaker, right? Because Bristle does not have any stuns. So they kind of like balanced it perfectly. These 2 backliners, the 2 stunners, and then this like perfect middle line Bristleback. Oh, it's beautiful. And thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed, please like and subscribe to help our channel grow. And if you don't understand that, just like and subscribe to help our channel grow. And I'll see you in the next one.
Are you tired of being hard stuck at your rank? Over at gameleap.com, we have a library of hundreds of guides authored by pro players and coaches covering literally every aspect of Dota. Whether you're looking to master a new hero or role, or just polish up your existing skills, GameLeap is the proven place for competitive gamers to hone their craft and unlock their secret potential. Hit the link on screen right now, to take advantage of our special offer for a 25% discount, guys, 25%, and start your journey today.